Joined now by Morgan Romero, one of our favorite and former ace reporters here at KTVB, who's now an anchor in Boise. And Morgan, what are you hearing there? What's the reaction to this ruling?
You know, a lot of emotion today on both sides, Pat. Idaho historically has had very strict laws that they've moved through the legislature the last few years in relation to abortion. So this is something that a lot of our lawmakers were holding out hope for, and they were wanting to see this happen. We put a law on the books in 2020 that was a trigger law, effectively banning all abortions if Roe was overturned. They passed a law in 2021 and then amended that in 2022. So this was something they were really anticipating, and you know, when that draft opinion was leaked, everybody was preparing. Planned Parenthood was preparing. Centers that help women with alternative routes during pregnancy were preparing. So this is something that didn't come as a surprise to people in Idaho, but still the emotion very raw today.
So interesting. It sounds like maybe a majority of the people there are in favor of this, of having Roe v. Wade struck down.
It's difficult to gauge what the average Idahoan really feels about abortion, but I do know the vast majority of our lawmakers are supportive of this. We are predominantly conservative, Republican-held legislature. Unlike the state of Oregon, it's sort of the opposite. And this is something that they've really been working on. And currently, we have a law that they tried to push last year, and they passed this year an amendment to it. And that currently is held up in the Idaho Supreme Court, different than the trigger law that goes into effect in 30 days. But it's something that's been worked on actively with lawmakers joining in, and sort of lawmakers versus Planned Parenthood in the state of Idaho.
Interesting. Okay. And of course, with Boise not being far from the Oregon border, a lot of us are wondering if you've heard from women there or their allies who are saying women are going to start now planning to make the trip to Eastern Oregon if they need to get an abortion. Have you heard about that?
We haven't heard directly from any women today or in reaction to the draft opinion, but we have been hearing from Planned Parenthood, who, as I'm sure you guys have reported, has really been beefing up their resources in Eastern Oregon. Currently, the closest abortion clinic to Boise that's not in Boise is in Walla Walla, Washington. So Planned Parenthood took their resources from Boise. They closed their Boise office. They allocated their resources to their Meridian office, which is a suburb outside of Boise. But now that they're not going to be able to do abortions in Idaho, they're trying to open a space in Eastern Oregon, just anticipating for that influx of people that are going to come. They do know it's going to happen. They do know that women from the Boise area are going to be going to Eastern Oregon to be seeking those abortions. And Pat, it's important to note too, I think, as we talk about this and as we hear from experts, historically in terms of access to abortion, and this is going to be the case here in Idaho, women of color, people of lower socioeconomic status, our LGBTQ folks in that community, they are going to be disproportionately impacted by this ban on abortions.
All right. Thank you, Morgan. We'll be watching to see how this plays out, especially in Eastern Oregon. Thank you for your time and for your insights. Good to see you again.
You bet. You too.